Welcome to Tellypathic, your visit to the world of episodic telly with a strong backbone of Star Trek. We are your two hosts who are mad about telly, Mark and Gary. Hi, Gary.
Hey Mark, how's it going, mate?
All right, not bad, not bad. So, my choice this time,
Yep.
and I we're diverging from Star Trek again, and we are going for Doctor Who. And I'm talking the more recent era of Doctor Who, which I think is now referred to as Doctor Who 2005, I
I gotta say,
believe.
you say recent, but 2005 was 20 years ago,
Well,
Mark.
okay, but the thing is that apparently the BBC are now calling Doctor Who three different eras, like the classic era, the 2005 era, and the 2023 era, I think it is.
Oh,
They'll
why'd
be
they cut
calling,
off the 2023 then? What's the...
well, probably Disney reasons, right? Because
Oh,
they got
right,
funding.
okay.
Disney. And Nkuti Gatwa took over. That's what it was with the bi-generation thing, I think.
Oh, okay.
I think it was something to do with that. But yeah, so that when I say recent, I mean before the most before the most recent, if that makes sense. It
Yeah,
doesn't
we mean
really. Yeah,
2005, starting with Christopher Eccleston as the
Eccleston.
Doctor.
Yeah,
Yeah,
and we are doing an Eccleston episode, and we're doing a
yeah.
fairly, very well, almost his most memorable. Arguably there's other ones which are just as memorable. The first one with Rose, what was it, the Christmas Invasion, or the Unearthly Child was one of his, wasn't it? Wasn't it? Yeah, it was.
Yeah.
Um, but yeah, this one's Dalek, which was
Oh,
episode
yeah.
6 of season one. Interesting one is because in the lead up, I mean, when it was announced Doctor Who was in production, there was a lot of faffing about with Terry Nation, who owns the rights to the Daleks. Um, and I think the BBC had a bit of a job wrangling some rights, or he's just doing it for negotiation tactics. I don't really know, but they did manage to wrangle, yeah, some rights to actually use the Daleks, which
Yep.
is kind of important given the whole Time War thing, and everything.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. But yeah, this one was probably my favourite from season one. But having said that, there's a few I really like. So I don't know. It's really difficult. When I rewatch, it sort of changes.
Yeah.
Did you see this one, Ed?
I did. I did.
Right.
So this was watching the Christopher Eccleston Doctor Who. That was my first entry into Doctor Who.
Yeah.
Um, and my dad was a big Doctor Who fan, and obviously when it was announced and the first episode was coming, he was like, right, we've got to sit and watch this, and we did as a family. We watched Doctor Who, and yeah, I loved it, and it scared the hell out of me when I was a kid.
Yeah.
Not this particular episode, but I remember the gas masks.
Oh yeah, that was creepy as hell.
Will you be my mummy?
Man,
That
yeah.
I can remember that
Which always makes me
vividly
laugh because
creeping me out.
I am rewatching it and there is a one where Tennant actually says, "Will you be my mummy?" at one point
Yeah,
when
yeah,
he's
the
got a gas
callback is
mask.
pretty good. Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
that always makes me laugh. But yes, that unfortunately makes me laugh when I watch The Unearthly Child because I think of Tennant pissing about with that. That just makes
Yeah.
me laugh.
But
Um,
yeah, so yeah, I did watch it, yeah, 20 years ago now.
Yes.
Yeah.
Really was looking forward. I have to say, when I heard about the series and I said, "Oh no, we're not doing four parts. It's going to be one-off episodes," I was quite disappointed because yeah, I watched a lot of classic Who growing up. You know,
Right.
the originals, starting with John Pertwee was the earliest one I remember seeing. Then I did go back and watch Troughton, and I've watched all of Doctor. Well, I'm working through the entire run of Doctor Who, and I'm on
Crikey,
Capaldi
that'll
at the
take a
minute.
while.
Well, I've gone through most of it.
Blimey.
I'm
That's
on
good
the tail
watching,
end, but
mate.
I've slowed up a bit because I'm just watching other shows. But
Hmm.
I do want to get to the end. But it's excuse me. It I was quite excited it was coming back, and I think it hit the ground running. Eccleston brought a lot of energy and really kicked it all off. It's a shame he only stayed for one season. He's got reasons, you know. But apparently, he's a lot. He used to hate talking about Doctor Who, but he's a lot more relaxed about it now, and happy and stuff like that. But yeah,
Interesting.
I have to tell you, I actually know one of the cast of this Doctor Who. Jackie Tyler, Camille Kaduri. I was in a band with Camille Kaduri. Um,
No way. Look at that.
many years ago. She's a great singer, by the way. She doesn't like singing though. Can you believe that? But she was really good. She was really good. But yeah, love Camille. She's great. She's fantastic. I haven't seen her in many years, but we kind of keep in touch because one of my cousins sort of knows her family quite well, so we kind of keep in touch a bit that way. My mum sees her actually sometimes because
Really?
I don't live in that part of the world anymore. But she still lives kind of roughly where I used to live. Um,
Right.
Another bizarre thing, her birthday is one day. And when I say birthday, I mean date of birth is one day before my date of birth. That's weird, right?
I guess.
She was born
Yeah.
one day before me. That's really odd. That's
Mm.
really dating me, isn't it? I'm just
It is a
realised.
little bit.
Yeah, yeah,
But you know, that's
yeah. So yeah, there is a connection. But I think they cast the whole series really well as well. I
yeah.
mean, should we talk about season one generally at first, and then get into this episode? Or should we just stick with the episode? What do you prefer?
I think let's just stick to the episode. I think we're gonna branch. We're naturally gonna branch anyway, talk about some stuff. So
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
let's
yeah.
talk about the
Okay,
episode and then
okay.
we can get see where it takes us, right?
Yeah, so this one has the TARDIS being drawn by some sort of signal, which isn't really expanded on. Um, uh, um, and they end up in an underground bunker in what they say is 2012, right?
Yeah,
I mean, 7 years after this episode, in the future, 7 years in the future when this was made.
that's right.
Um, so this is the first Dalek episode in the new seasons, and everyone was kind of excited about a Dalek turning up. Do you think it delivered as an episode?
So yes, I think from first impressions, whenever I think about Dalek episodes, I always um I always compare Daleks to the Dalek in this episode, to me.
Yeah,
Um, because I think the Dalek in this episode is so good that I compare all of the Daleks to it. Which is
yeah, I
funny
think.
because obviously it gets corrupted and stuff, but
Yeah,
yeah.
I mean, we have many, over the years since this one, we've had many Dalek episodes, but this is the most memorable to me.
Yeah. This is
There's
the
some stuff
episode I
with
think about
yeah, there's stuff
when
with
constantly,
Davros
yeah.
that's also kind of interesting, but this is like this is the episode I think of when I think of a modern era Dalek, and it's interesting because it's not that typical of a Dalek episode. Dalek episodes about Daleks trying to invade places, you know,
Yeah.
and being fought back, and usually some sort of resistance. There's usually a wartime kind of element to Dalek, a war element to Dalek episodes. This was different. This was a lone Dalek, sort of be trapped, and they introduced some kind of interesting elements. And I have to say, there was one bit in this episode where I thought of a much later premise that's come in recently, which is Daleks actually what they say is what they do. It's almost like their way of controlling themselves, like saying the word exterminate sort of spurs them on. And there's one bit where it says elevate, which seems a bit cheesy when you see it, but it actually
Oh, it's
ties in
so good.
to a point that's a season, several seasons on, that's raised about how Daleks process things, and it's kind of interesting that it did actually tie in.
Yeah. Dude,
So
that was one of my favorite moments. I laughed out loud watching that.
what,
The woman, they're like, they run up the stairs, and they're like, it can't possibly get up the stairs, which I'm sure is probably a callback to the old series.
it
They're like,
was a standing joke that Daleks can't go upstairs. Yeah.
yeah, and they're like, look at this, like, killer death machine, and they're defeated by a simple flight of stairs. And then she's like, if you just surrender now, we can work it out. And he sort of slowly looks at her and pauses. Elevate. It's so good.
It's
I
funny.
thought it
It's
was
funny. There
fantastic.
are some
Yeah.
great lines. Rewatching this episode, it was I have to say I found it a bit cheesier than I remembered it in places. I
Yeah.
think that's a bit towards I don't know. I couldn't work out it. The quality of the show didn't look that great.
Oh
Um,
man, yeah, it's so 2005 coded. Like
mm,
the film, the way like the set is, the sound design, like you can tell it's just like
yeah,
just
it's
chucked
weird
together.
because it's almost feels like I mean, if you compare this episode, say, or any of the Eccleston episodes with, say, Tennant's first episode,
Yeah, you can tell the
that looks
budget is
filmic. It looks
yeah,
filmic, and
the
I think
budget
it's just
was
better cameras, or I assume they're using digital cameras at this point, but
just better equipment. I mean,
better
just them
equipment.
walking around sounded like they were in a warehouse, no
Yeah,
matter where they were, you know, and the
it
way
was
they
a
were
bit
talking
Red
and stuff.
Dwarf stroke Blake Seven in
Yeah,
places, wasn't it?
yeah,
It
yeah.
did sort of feel a bit like that. And I think, and I kind of forget this, but they have loads. I mean, it's always been there. Loads of incidental music in Doctor Who. There's music all the time, but that
Hmm.
makes it feel a little cheesy as well. But then when it gets serious and Eccleston delivers, and Billy Piper delivers something serious done, it actually stops being cheesy soap opera
Well, yeah,
kind of
and so
stuff, and it's good, right?
yeah, and I think this is one of the reasons why, and I think probably why the writers like the Daleks so much, is because you can really change the tone, specifically of the Doctor, in a Dalek episode.
Yeah.
And you know, Christopher Eccleston, he bleeds all over the screen in this episode. Um,
Oh, he's
he
thrown
proper,
himself into it.
yeah,
Yes.
he proper sends himself
And
into
it
it.
isn't overacting, is it? I don't think it's overacting at all. It's
No, I
properly
think he's
pitch
great at it.
acting.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it feels like
Even though it's so
genuine
intense.
anger.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, his spit coming out of his mouth when he's shout, and there's,
Mhm.
it's really, really meaning it. It gets very Larry Northerner at the
Yeah,
beginning as well, doesn't it?
yeah,
Just
but
makes me laugh.
it's what I like about. Well, I think all of the Doctors. I think Tennant has a great moment. I think Matt Smith particularly has a good moment where you do those first few episodes where it's all cheesy grins and silly lines, and he's kind of goofy,
Yeah,
and then he meets a Dalek, and it all goes away, and he's
yeah,
deadly serious, and he hates them. He absolutely hates them, and it comes across as a scary juxtaposition. It's like it's a little glimpse behind the curtain that he's not perhaps who he kind of like gives out, if that makes sense. He's not quite. There's something hidden underneath him, right? Which is,
yeah,
I think maybe later the writing later on in Doctor Who kind of forgets about a bit, but certainly in the Eccleston, Tennant, and Matt Smith era, there's that like layer behind him, which is that War Doctor, which they really bring out in this episode. And this is the first, like you say, this is the first time. This is season one,
yeah.
episode 6. So they already had that in mind. And yeah, it's a really good because you're kind of like, wow, this isn't like the Doctor we've seen the last 5 episodes. Where
Yeah.
where's his? He does a little bit of that until he meets the Dalek, and then he's immediately changes. It's really effective.
Yeah, it's very good. Almost every other sort of race, he kind of tries to kind of negotiate. Even Cybermen and all sorts. Silurians in particular, he's kind of always tries to sort of talk with them, and sort of negotiate. But Daleks, he don't mess about, does he? That's
Yeah,
his.
and he
It's his
even
trigger. It's his trigger, right?
yeah
That's
he
his.
even quips about the Cybermen in this episode,
He
right?
does. Old
There's a
friend. I
nice
mean,
touch where
enemy.
he sees the old Cyberman helmet, doesn't he?
Yeah, yeah. In a case, and he's
Yeah.
saying, "Oh, deadly race turned into an exhibit." He kind of sounds a bit sad about it all. Um,
Yeah, but he's not so sad about the Dalek. He wants to kill it immediately.
yes. And it was interesting. There was one point where he like literally turns the electric on to sort of torture it, doesn't he,
Well,
Doctor?
to execute it, he tries to
Yeah,
kill it.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
And I was wondering, wow, imagine if Rose witnessed that. That would have shocked
Well,
her,
yeah.
wouldn't it?
Yeah,
Um,
exactly. And again, that's another thing where we've only seen the Doctor care about other things. Like he's
yeah,
always been the good guy. And again, it's only been 5 episodes, but in those 5 episodes, he's only tried to look out for things and help people and save things.
yeah.
And then come come this episode, his first act is to laugh at the fact that it can't. It's like trapped, right?
Yeah,
He sort of manically laughs about how helpless it is, and then
yeah,
he tries to kill it, which is crazy considering what
crazy
we've seen of
dark.
him before.
Yeah.
So good, like such
But
a
they have been
character
laying the
shift.
seeds about the Time War, haven't they? All through this, the
Yeah,
final big war. So it kind of he's a war survivor, right? He's that's what he is, a
yeah.
traumatized war
Or is
survivor.
the what does the Dalek call him? Coward.
Yeah, you coward that ran away. All that. There's some nice lines between the Dalek
The Doctor.
and the Doctor. I really really liked
Yeah.
it. Um, but like I say, there was a fair amount of cheese as well. I
Oh
felt
yeah.
like it's a cheesy episode, but there's some good stuff, so it sort of still stands up really well. I mean, the shithill millionaire guy, yeah, collecting alien artifacts and basically owns. They say he owns the internet because no one knows the internet. He goes, yeah, let's keep people thinking that way, and it's like,
It's
oh yeah, you're one
terrible.
of those guys. We get more and more of those every year. You're one of those guys, yeah. In real life, we get more and more. Of that.
Yeah.
Um, there was also another nice touch, and you may not be aware of this, that when the Dalek zap people with its, the gun,
Mm.
the effect was quite similar to what they did in the classic series, in that weird sort of negative thing where you see the sort of skeleton. Do you know what
Mm.
I mean? That's the
Yeah.
same kind of effect as they used in the classic series, which was a nice callback.
Oh, nice.
And there was
Oh,
a nice. Sorry, go
that,
on.
that was a question I had. You know where he uses the sucker
Yeah,
to get the
yeah,
guy? Do they
yeah.
use that in the old series?
Nah, no, no,
Oh,
no.
cool.
I
So was
don't
that
think
like
they
a
ever
whoa
have.
moment for old
Ever
fans?
have. It's only ever been used in the new one because it did that. I felt like that was almost not an in joke, but a joke to the people that know Doctor Who. Are you going to sucker me to death? And it does, right?
Yeah, yeah.
What
Because
I
I
think they've
wondered.
done is the sucker's almost meant to be like a multi-purpose hand thing.
Yeah,
So they put it on things and it kind of can manipulate. But
yeah.
in this, it was pulled his. I don't know. He was starting
Crushed
to
his head with it.
distort. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
So yeah, and that was the guy that was torturing him. So fair enough, right? Doctor does have a good old go at the millionaire, or billionaire, whatever he is, too, doesn't he? So yeah, you sit in your little room and while the universe is out there, and also we get introduced to. Um, the younger guy. What's his name? I've forgotten the character's name. Um, who actually goes in the TARDIS at the end, doesn't he? Adam. Adam.
Yeah.
Um,
He
and
tags along for a few episodes,
and
right?
there's a bit flirty with Billy Piper. Um, so yeah, his character reminded me of someone in the old series called Turlo, who kind of joined the Doctor for 3 or 4 adventures, but basically he wasn't right as a companion,
Mm.
as Adam isn't for similar reasons as well.
Yeah, it
So
it's beginning of a casual classic thing that it seems to happen in all of this series where they bring a third companion who has a love interest, usually the main companion, and then they kind of disappear after a few episodes.
yeah, yeah,
Kind
and
of
this
all of
is
the
one of
Doctors seem to do
those.
this after that.
Yeah,
Yeah, especially in the
yeah,
2005 arc, right? Going
yeah,
forward.
yeah.
Yeah.
It's kind of interesting, and they did it. They did it with Tom Baker. He had a character called Harry. Now that character was actually brought in because they thought John Pertwee was going to do that season, and he was getting a bit older, and they wanted a bit more action. So they thought a younger bloke could do the actiony stuff, like
Right, right.
Jamie used to in the second Doctor. It was kind of like that, but actually Tom Baker's pretty athletic anyway, so he was a bit of a spare wheel in the episodes he was
Oh,
in some
yikes.
respects. But he was quite a good character. I quite like. He was Sarah Jane kind of era as
Right.
well. He was with Sarah Jane and the Doctor. Um, so the Dalek's all chained up, isn't he? And refuses to talk. But immediately, as soon as he says, "I'm the dot," I'm the dot. It's kind of he perks right up. Well, no,
Well, yeah.
first it's Rose, isn't it? I've just realised it. First it's Rose. Rose, he's basically Adam's kind of showing off and hacks into the system to see what's going on with the Dalek. She sees it being tortured. She don't know it's a deadly, horrible race, that's murderous race. she just sees this thing being tortured. Um, and the millionaire and his cronies, they don't know it's that deadly. They just torturing it because they want it to talk. Right? They're horrible people as well. uh,
Yeah.
um,
Yeah, I like the preambles. Like, I guess you don't know, right? Imagine you didn't know the episode was called Dalek, even though they give it away at the very beginning of the episode where you get the credits. It hits you with Dalek, right?
yeah,
But let's just imagine that didn't happen. It kind of keeps it secret for as long as possible in the actual, footage where they call it like a Metaltron,
yeah.
because they
Metaltron, they
don't
keep
know what it
calling it.
is.
Go to the Metaltron area. It's like that.
Yeah, we know that it's alive. We know that it's capable of sending like a help signal. And then the doctor's kind of with it's very strange because they're like, "Why are you here in the bunker? And how did you get here?" And the doctor kind of doesn't offer, in his troll way. He's just like, I don't know. I'm just kind of here. Why do you think I'm here?
Yeah,
All right, and then for some reason he's like, "Hey, do you want to come see this thing? Like, it's living or whatever." Like they just suddenly start working together, even though he thinks he's a thief. I think it's
yeah.
very odd.
Well, no, it's because the doctor knows so much about it. Yeah, for example, he says, "No, you're holding that wrong." He says, "What have I got to hold it a special?" You know,
Yeah, I know,
but
but
I mean,
he's
and he says, "Yeah, it
supposed to be
just
a
looks a bit
thief.
too."
So if he's a thief, he would know about
Yeah, maybe,
anyway. It
maybe.
doesn't really make very much sense. But anyway,
It
he
intrigues the millionaire, right?
yeah
Enough
he
so that what's his name, Van Patten or whatever his name is,
Van Staten, isn't
Van
it? Yeah,
Statten,
such a villain name.
intrigues him enough that he kind of let. And it did make me laugh because I was thinking of the Prime Directive, Prime Directive, don't tell anyone, and try not to. Doctor explains everything all the time. He says, "Oh yeah, these
Yeah,
Daleks do this. Oh yeah, we had a big time war with them," and
yeah.
it's like, wow, it's just telling them everything.
But there's this great moment, right, where he walks into the cage, they call it, and
Yeah,
it's pitch black except for a little tiny blue light in the corner.
yeah,
And Christopher Eccles like, "Oh, hello. Sorry about Van Staten. Sorry about all this. I'm here to help you.
yeah.
I'm the doctor." And then it goes, "Doctor." Like, and it like little like
Yeah.
lights light up, and it's so good.
It's very cool.
And immediately Eccleston's like, "Get
Rage.
me out of here!" He's like, "Get me out of here!" And then he realizes that its gun doesn't work, and then he laughs at it
Yeah,
and
he
very
goes a bit
mean.
mad, doesn't he? And then starts trying to kill it,
Yeah,
basically.
it's
Advance that
awesome. It's
intensive
such a
cars to
good
turn him around.
introduction to the Dalek and then the beef between them and the Doctor. And like you say, Rose has been separated and doesn't know what's going on. Obviously, the Doctor doesn't hasn't told her about the Daleks because why would he, right? PTSD
Yeah,
trauma with all that.
yeah,
So yeah, very
yeah.
good setup for an
Yeah,
episode.
and so she sees it being tortured effectively because Van Staten wants it to talk, even because it's now he knows it can talk because it talks to the doctor fairly freely, uh, but it's weakened and it's in the right state, isn't it?
Yep.
And Rose goes down to talk to it and says, "I've got a friend that can help you, the doctor." But she touches it, which here we get some like bullshit, right? Basically, it somehow absorbs some of her DNA through its metal case, which then kind of
Regenerates it.
re-energize it. But also somehow the DNA gets into its system and changes it as well. It's part of the plot
That
as
gets like,
well.
yeah, revealed later on, doesn't it?
Which
Yeah.
kind of, I feel that's okay. That's okay because you understand why it's doing what it does at the end. Because a Dalek,
Yeah.
well, other than it could just have gone mad because, um, solid being alone, a lone soldier with no orders to follow. What point does it? Which is a point Eccleston says, right? The doctor
Yeah.
says to it.
Yeah. That all happens at the end, though, doesn't it?
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. So it kind of makes it. Yeah. So yeah, there was some. It's interesting because Mad Daleks is a big thing in the later Who, isn't it? There's like, oh yeah, those Daleks are mad.
Yeah.
I think there's an episode called "The Asylum of the Daleks," for example.
There
So
is. Yeah.
there's a tendency for
It's
Daleks
a
to
good
go
episode.
insane. But
Yeah.
yes. Um,
Yeah, so it's interesting because, like, yeah, I think the setup is really good because you get the sense that he's coaxing Rose to touch him. Like, he knows it's going to happen. Like he can like
Yeah,
regenerate often.
maybe, but Daleks aren't that, you know, aware of emotions and stuff. So it's kind of maybe it's just happened, you know.
Yeah, maybe. I mean, yeah. I think I think one of the things I like about this episode is because, like you mentioned before about Dalek episodes, is it's very much Doctor versus hundreds, thousands of Daleks, right?
Yeah,
And like, or I guess in the older series, right, it'd be a group of Daleks that he's dealing with, but whatever. In this episode, it focuses on what a Dalek on its own is capable of,
yeah,
and it really it draws a line, I guess, to say this is what one could do. Now let's later on we'll introduce you to the concept of thousands of these guys,
yeah,
right?
yeah,
And that hits home so much more when you see the devastation that this one Dalek does. And like they say, he's like, oh, he's locked in the cage. There's like a billion combinations to like get through that door.
yeah.
And the doctor's like, he'll get through it in seconds, and he does. Right? He's just
Yeah, he says they're
he's a
super
genius.
intelligent, right? Which is
Yeah,
again not a particular thing in the Daleks, but it kind of makes sense if they've been engineered. Um, yeah,
yeah,
Daleks
it,
are bad news, and they keep presenting them as really bad news, and that's fairly consistent. There's like, for example, there's one episode where the Cybermen try and broker a
that's
deal
right.
with the
Yeah,
Daleks and sort of say we can join hands and take over the galaxy. The Daleks are like, we don't do that. And they say,
yeah.
"Oh,
Why
you're
would
going to
we?
fight six Daleks are going to fight 4 million Cybermen," and the Dalek goes, "One Dalek shall fight."
Yeah, yeah. It's so good. Yeah, that's a classic line.
Ah, dear.
Um, yeah, that was another one of the good lines. Later in the episode, after he kills like 100 men or something in a room.
Yeah,
They all try and kill him, and then the doctor's talking to him through a camera, and he's saying like, "Hey, your entire race is dead. Uh, you've got nothing to live for.
yeah.
Why don't you just kill yourself?"
He goes, "Here's
Which I
an
thought was,
order." Yeah, here's an order because it keeps saying, I need an order."
I've
Because
got, yeah, I'm a soldier. I need orders. Yeah, and he's like, "Here's an order. Why don't you kill yourself?" Which I thought was really funny for the doctor to say
yeah,
in in 2005, "Kill yourself." Um,
yeah,
and the Dalek just signs off with, "You'd make a good Dalek,"
yeah.
which I loved. I love that line
Yeah,
because it's
it's all
just
very,
all hate,
you
right?
fight monsters, you become a monster, isn't it? It's
Yeah,
all very that.
fighting hate with hate.
Um,
Yeah,
and Matt Smith went on to sort of propagate that very well through sort of part of his and Tennant as well now and again.
yeah, yeah. I feel like
Uh,
those three Doctors. I feel like I don't know if it was similar writers, but they. I feel like that those seasons really got the Daleks, or at least that arc of the War Doctor, really
yeah,
well.
yeah. Um, yeah. I mean, maybe we'll save a more thorough Dalek talk for if we ever do another episode with Daleks, which we may well do with Doctor Who.
Yeah, maybe. I mean, the
Uh,
Asylum, the Asylum of the Daleks is Matt Smith one is
yeah,
fantastic, isn't it?
yeah,
It's
yeah.
really good as well.
Yeah, yeah, it might be worth exploring Daleks a little more, but there's just so you know, I mean, that's what made Doctor Who. The Daleks were so incredibly popular, it was ridiculous. I mean, it
Yeah,
was almost like Beatlemania. There was a thing called Dalek Mania. In fact, I think there's a recent documentary called Dalek Mania, talking about the phenomenon of the Daleks and how much kids loved them.
yeah. I mean, it's funny, isn't it? We talk about we talk about this kind of thing, but nothing beats a good villain.
No,
And the
no.
Daleks are such a great villain, you know.
The only thing about the Daleks is it's a bit Austin Powers, take him away and do this, and it's like shoot him in the head now. They never shoot the
Yeah.
Doctor, well, they try, but sometimes it's based around he's really near the TARDIS and there's a protective field, or this, that, and the other, or the Doctor often just talks his way out of it, doesn't he? There's
Yeah,
a
there's
lot
like
of that.
goofy moments. I think there's at Tennant, he picks up like a pear or something, and he's like, "Oh, I've got a shield. And if you this is like a dead man switch, and if you kill me, then it'll explode and destroy the entire armada." And they're like, "Unlikely." scanning, and he just it's just long enough for him to get away, kind of
Get
thing,
away.
that kind
I'm
of
running
stuff.
away now.
Yeah.
Yeah. Um,
Yeah.
but there is an awful lot of sort of. It's quite a psychodrama. This episode, really well written, interesting because the writer I didn't recognise the name Robert Shearman, and I just wondered if he's done much more. I mean, apparently,
Mm.
he's done quite a bit of work, Doctor Who, but really well put together episode. Has to be said.
Yeah. Yeah, I
Um,
think so. I think so. I think that tonally it's completely different from the rest of the season.
yeah,
And it really works in that space. I think that's probably one of the reasons why we remember it so much, is because, yeah, tonally it doesn't feel like it matches.
yeah.
Um,
Well, Eccleston's his usual chirpy self. You know how he is in the other episodes until he meets the Dalek, right?
yeah,
Up until then, it's all yeah, give me that, I'll show you. You just play it gently, and you can tell he
yeah.
doesn't like the millionaire pretty much straight away. Um,
But he's kind of amicable to him, though, right? At the same time, he sees him as insignificant
yeah,
in his usual sort of doctor aloof way. He's just kind of like, it's just I don't really
and he
think
does
about it.
keep banging about. I told you to kill it. We should have killed it. And he thought, I thought
Yeah,
we'd be all right, you know. But
which is dark again for the doctor to be saying and constantly saying, is like,
yeah,
you should have let me kill that thing, which is crazy when you think about the doctor as we know him.
yeah, he's
Um,
usually trying to find some way
some
around
other
it. Not
solution, right?
always, not
Like,
always, but
yeah,
often, often. Because Matt Smith did go for a period when it was like, I don't, you know,
yeah,
uh, I
yeah.
don't care about this anymore. You know, I'm just
Hmm.
gonna get it done. But then he got pulled out again, pulled out of that again, which is a really nice arc as well.
Yep.
And that's often the interaction, isn't it, between in this phase of the Doctor, the companions keep him grounded and humanized. He can kind of
Yeah.
start going off the rails if left alone for too long, kind of thing. And I think Amy said it, one, you know, don't stay alone too long, you know, uh,
Oh, yeah. Yeah, I might
stuff
do
like
that
that.
episode actually. But yeah,
Yeah,
I think yeah, so the ending of this episode is right, like the Dalek gets mutated by Rose's DNA,
and he
and he's
starts
kind
having
of
feelings he can't process, right?
yeah, he's like, he understands fear. He sort of is reluctant to kill Rose
Yeah,
because which is obviously something that a Dalek should never feel.
yeah.
He
Kills
wants
everyone without a second thought when they're all kind of in the room
shooting at him
with
and stuff.
the
Yeah,
yeah, no problem. But then he looks at the camera and Rose thinks, oh, sorry, he doesn't look at her. He looks at Rose. She said he was looking at me, and Adam's like, he was looking at everyone. He says, no, he was
yeah,
looking at. It's
yeah,
like, yeah, okay. Yeah, but that little speech between the Doctor and the Dalek through the TV screen was quite amazing. Little dialogue between them, you know.
yeah,
You'd make a good Dalek. Amazing. And
yeah.
even
It's good.
by the end, the Doctor's kind of has a little compassion, doesn't he?
Well, I would argue he doesn't, right? I think that's why it's so good. Like
Well, he says, I'm sorry, and he kind of means it.
well, yeah, but I guess again, like you say, it takes the companion to pull him out of it. Like the Dalek is kind of useless. It's done, right? It's dying. As far as it's concerned, it wants to die,
Well,
and
I
Rose has
think he
stood
says,
there.
I'm sorry, we've turned you into something less than a Dalek, because in the Dalek's mind, what it was perfect, and now it's become something else, right?
Yeah,
But
but
I'm
when
not sure.
he shows up with the gun,
Yeah.
and he's ready to just blow it away.
And
He's
he's
like,
like,
Rose, get out of the
get
way.
out of the way. Yeah. Yeah.
And she says, "No, don't shoot him. He's changing into something that he wasn't. What are you changing into?" Because
Yeah.
she's never seen
Whoa.
this side of him. I love that. I thought that was such a good line. Whoever wrote that needs a, I'm sure they got a bonus on that. But yeah, it was a really, really good line. Um,
There's
really
some
got to
great
the heart
lines
of
in
it.
this, yes, and they do. It is really a full exploit. It's almost Shakespearean, isn't it? Doing
Yeah,
bad things, doing bad things for a good reason.
yeah. And
Make
Eccleston
you a
is
good
kind of
person.
like
Right.
he kind of glazes over, and then he's like, I wasn't. And he completely shuts down, and he does such a good job of like that, trying to explain why you're acting so crazy.
Yeah,
Oh, so good. And he drops the gun, and like you say, he says he's sorry, and he figures it out. But like that was such a good moment. Um,
yeah. It's interesting because some of the writing in later series sort of explored the fact that the Doctor is kind of the way he is with Tennant and Smith. It's almost like a reaction from the Time War, and almost like a denial and a sort of not infantilization. That's a bit too strong, but it's kind of it becomes a bit more childlike, doesn't he? Yeah,
Yeah,
compared to even Eccleston.
yeah, indeed.
Eccleston's the first reaction to the Time War. He's trying to be happy, but when he's triggered, shit kicks off, right?
Yeah,
Um, and Tennant is a sort of much more friendly. Um, no, I can't say that because Eccleston's kind of friendly, isn't he? But
yeah,
it comes across as a veneer where sometimes when it drops, like it does in this episode, when yeah, we're killing this.
yeah.
Um,
Yeah, and yeah. I mean, just like broadly speaking, it's why I like these seasons, like the Eccleston, the David Tennant, and the Matt Smith arc of Doctor Who. I like that so much because there's that layer underneath him which comes out in a few different ways, and they work that into like quite long arcs, but they like work it in every now and again to show that he isn't maybe what he presents to be. I think that's probably one of my favorite aspects of the Doctor as a character
yeah.
is that he seems to be this, but it's mostly a facade, and you can never know what you're really who he is. You never really get that sense that this is him. That this is the Doctor right here. It's he's more than that. He's more than us. I like that. He's
Yeah,
not. He doesn't feel human.
yeah. I mean, mostly the doctor's there. Trust me, I can help you. That's what his thing. But
Yeah.
occasionally it goes off the rails, as with this episode, as with certain art, a certain small arc
Yeah,
in
and
Matt
ironically, I don't know what
Smith
that
and
says
so on.
about me. I think they're all the best episodes, in my opinion.
Well, they set up some interesting drama.
Yeah,
That's the point of it. A lot of Doctor Who is kind of just fun, right? Or yeah, are you
and
setting
like you
up
say,
this
cheesy.
premise and
Yeah,
finding out getting the result, right? It's working out problems or whatever. Sometimes it's a caper, or something like that. But
yeah,
the real drama ones are the ones where the Doctor's being questioned or pushed back on what he thinks. And there's some interesting one with Daleks. There's some interesting ones with the Master, right?
yeah.
That really
The
explore that
companions,
quite well, and some companions. Yeah, yeah,
like again, something I don't know if the old series does this, and you can tell me otherwise. Like the ethics of having a companion in the first place
yeah.
gets brought
Are
into
they cannon
question.
fodder?
Yeah,
Are they
why
your
am I
soldiers?
bringing this 19-year-old girl into this situation? And in this episode, he shuts the door on her, right? He's like, I can't let the Dalek out.
Yeah, that's rough.
I'm going to shut the door to lock it in the bunker. And Rose isn't quick enough. She gets locked in with it. But he makes the call, and then the Dalek has her hostage, right? He's like, open the door or she gets it.
Yeah, he says I
Which
can't
is,
kill her twice, doesn't he? I
he
think he
says, I
says.
can't kill her twice. And like, I didn't realize that Rose is 19.
Yeah,
But
yeah,
damn,
yeah,
like
man.
that's messed up. And like it comes up in this series and then in later ones where he's like, yeah, like the ethics of even bringing, a mere human into these situations is actually kind of wrong.
Yeah,
Um,
yeah. But he
which is
does it all the
interesting.
time. Does it
And he does it
all
all the
the
time,
time.
yeah. And you're like, is this a good guy? Is
Or
he a good
is he
guy?
just so confident that he can keep protecting them?
Yeah,
And mostly that works. There's been a few exceptions, but
I know.
mostly
Is it
he
just
can.
luck? Is he,
And it's
is it
weird that the
right? It's
exceptions
interesting.
seem to be characters he's not really getting on with. That is really dark if you start thinking about that. It's like,
Well, yeah, and like the
look.
way he treats humans that he's not interested in as well is another really interesting because he constantly says, "Oh, I'm really interested in humans," right? But the humans that he doesn't like or doesn't care about, he's just insignificant to him, right? It's really interesting.
Yeah, yeah.
It's good stuff. Good Doctor
The
Who's
thing
cool.
is, you have to watch the whole lot to really get a sense of it, and there's a lot.
Yeah,
There's a
it's
lot.
worth it.
And
So
it's
some
an
of it is.
interesting character all the way through, from Hartnell right through to Nkitagawa, or Shutigawa. I always say it a bit wrong. Um,
Right. Yeah.
There's always interesting stuff in some of his sort of some of the dynamics of what's going on.
Yeah. I stopped watching. I think it got to when Capaldi took over
Right, right.
because I love Capaldi. The Thick of It is one of my favorite shows. And I couldn't, I was like, oh man, we're going to get a serious Doctor. I can't wait for that. Yeah, we've had Eccleston and Tennant and then Matt Smith, and they were kind of goofy, and then they had their serious episodes that was really good. But like we're gonna get Capaldi, he's gonna be really serious, and then it just wasn't. It just wasn't what I wanted.
Was it when he rode into a battle arena with a guitar and a T Rex that?
Yeah, and I was kind of like,
Uh,
I feel like you missed an opportunity. They kind of
they did.
they took a
I mean,
direction which I didn't want to follow them down, so I kind of stopped watching it. But
it's
yeah,
interesting because you see like these memes of the different doctors and how they react to certain things. Like someone gets bad service in a restaurant, like Tom Baker's daughter doesn't even notice, and this, that, and the other. But usually it's Sylvester McCoy. He's the most deadly, right? He did
right,
not mess about. He's a bit like the Doctor in this. In this episode, he
right.
does not mess about at all, and it's kind of funny that he's like the friendly, Sylvester McCoy. He's a friendly kind of guy, but his doctor's lethal.
Nice.
Yeah, it's funny. But yeah, yeah. Yeah, what I would do want to explore at some point is the one where we have Tennant and Smith with the War Doctor and the War Doctor's reaction to these two. Uh,
Oh yeah.
those one ways, I think that's really well written too.
Is it John Hurt?
John Hurt is the War Doctor, yeah.
Yeah, yeah. That was a Christmas. I remember. I
It
watched that. That
was.
was that was wicked. Yeah.
And they, anyway, we won't get into the plot. I was
Yeah.
just
Again,
about
that's like my
to
favorite. One of my favorite arcs is
yeah,
that
yeah,
like
yeah.
yeah stuff.
But yeah, there's some interesting stuff, and I feel like these are reactions to the massive trauma of the Time War,
Yeah.
in some respects, and they're still echoing through the Doctor's sort of timelines. Sorry, existence is
Yeah.
regenerations, somewhat. Yeah. Um. Okay. Well, good episode, right? It's so memorable. It's the when I think of Eccleston's run, it's this one and Rose is the one I think of most, and then just after that, the Unearthly Child, I think. But I really like the first episode with Eccleston too. I think they hit it properly square on the head and got it perfect. Actually,
Yeah. Honestly, yeah. It just reminded me how much I like Christopher Eccleston. Um,
yeah.
and in this series of Doctor Who, I might even watch this series again.
I think they
Even with it being old school and a bit janky, like from a production standpoint, like yeah,
Oh, it's
I
worth a
think
watch, and it's all
yeah,
on
I
the
want to watch it. It was
iPlayer
very
as well,
cool.
right? I just think they got really lucky with their casting and how it turned out, because finding Tennant after Eccleston was a hard act to follow, but Tennant was just spectacularly good.
Yeah, I remember as a kid, reacting to, oh, they're changing the Doctor because
Yeah,
I didn't know about this whole
regeneration
right.
thing.
I was new to all of it, and I was like, oh, changing it to a new person, and then it was didn't Tennant spend half the episode asleep on his first episode,
I was disoriented, but then he
and then he
really
has the
comes
sword
good.
fight right on the
Yeah,
ship in
yeah,
his pajamas.
it's one of my favourite episodes
Yeah,
of
that
the
was
new.
fun. I remember
I
watching
just
Christmas
love
Day,
that.
right?
I nearly picked it for this, but I
Yeah,
thought, well, if we're going to do Who, let's do Eccleston first, at least,
yeah.
right?
They really knew how to shift it, and like you say, Tennant was fantastic. I mean, he's my favorite Doctor.
Yeah,
Just David
and the
Tennant, but
BBC seriously considered just not continuing because they thought we're never going to get someone to replace
yeah. And
Tennant.
then Matt Smith comes along,
And
and
then
you know
Matt Smith
what?
comes
Does
on.
a pretty good job.
And at first, it was 50-50, but rewatching him, no, man, he's great from the beginning.
Yeah, I think he is. He's fantastic. I think the only thing he gets is I think the writing starts to drop off a little
Yeah,
bit,
a little.
whereas
But there are
Tennant
some
had such solid episodes.
Tennant had a good solid run. It got a little maudlin towards the end. It kind of got a bit dragged down. However, Matt Smith, you're right, it does get a little weaker towards the end, but I still think some of the best episodes of Matt Smith ever
Yeah.
out of the 2005 Doctor, the whole run. I think Matt Smith has the best episodes
Oh,
of all.
interesting. I think there's a lot for us to explore. I mean, it's great
Yeah,
episodic telly is Doctor Who. So,
yeah, yeah.
yeah, plenty of us things to
Yeah,
us
it's
for us to
episodic,
explore.
but there is these like art, like the Dalek arc,
Oh,
things
yeah,
like that,
yeah,
right?
but that's all
Um,
right. It's like the Borg showing up in Star Trek. It's just
Indeed,
the way it is.
indeed. I was there's a bit of there's some comics out, where the Cybermen and the Borg interact, and I've always wondered the Borg always feel like they just did the Cybermen, right? But in the
Kind of.
comics, the Cybermen kick the Borg's ass. Absolutely. I don't
Yeah.
know how, but they do. they just they just better than the Borg, right? Which is hard to believe given the how reactive and so on the Borg are. But anyway, yeah. Um,
Yeah. Well, add your likeness to our own is not really something you could say to a robot. I
yeah,
mean,
that's true.
yeah.
Um, yeah, so okay, let's kind of wind up. I think there's just an interest. This is as I already said, this is almost Shakespearean in what it's exploring. Really, it's once you've done something monstrous, if you want to do something, it changes you, right?
Yeah.
And we
I,
see
I
all the
think
results.
I think it's possibly one of my favorite Nemesis episodes. You know, establishing a nemesis in every sense of the word, and then that this episode lays the groundwork for that nemesis for the rest of the series. We're talking hundreds of episodes after it, right?
Hmm.
Like Doctor Who today, the groundwork for the Dalek was really well done here. And I know, obviously, in the older series, the Daleks were obviously introduced and people loved them then. I haven't watched the old series, so if there are episodes from the old series you think I should watch and we could talk about,
There's certainly some Tom Baker ones. I think I wouldn't mind going through one of each, to be honest. But
yeah,
we got a lot of time, right?
we got
I'm
a lot of time, a
happy.
lot of episodes.
We'll stick with the 2005 one. I think. Well, it's up to us, right? We'll do what
But
we
yeah,
want. But I think the 2001 is a good one to explore. But there's definitely a few episodes from the earlier Doctors that are worth a look, and they will be shonky and cheap, and you got
oh
to
yeah,
sort
yeah,
of
but
look
that's fine.
past that. But there's some really interesting dramas in there. There's some of the elements we see from Tennant are very strong in of how he considers should I do this or shouldn't I, that sort of. And Smith was just reflections of what some of Tom Baker's episodes actually,
Yeah,
and
and I
some of
think,
the sort of faults he had. Right?
well, I guess if there are anybody listening who is watching Doctor Who today and maybe hasn't seen as far back as Christopher Eccleston, maybe is too old or whatever, at least check this episode out just
Yeah,
to get a feel for it. I think that there are, like Mark says, there's loads of good episodes from this far back.
yeah.
Uh, don't be afraid to dive in. Yeah, the production's maybe not as tight, but honestly, it's much, in my opinion, probably better writing than what's happening today.
Yes, I'd say that's like they feel much more polished and coherent, and it kind of these individual episodes kind of work better. If I was to recommend anyone what to good start, I'd say actually go to the very first episode with Eccleston and then go to this one. Um, I think
Oh
that
yeah, just
sets
watch the
out
series,
enough.
right?
Yeah,
Yeah,
just watch the
just watch
series.
the
There's
series,
some
but yeah,
some of them
don't
are
be afraid of it.
goofy,
It's
some
good.
are really quite intense and scary, yeah, but they're intended to be family viewing, right?
Yeah, that's
Um,
the thing, right? Like Doctor Who is cheesy family horror, quotes unquote, right? Like it is like Goosebumps horror, right? It's not that scary, but to a
yeah,
kid, it is. Right? At
yeah.
least for me,
Oh, I
back in
believe it's
2005, it freaked me
a
out.
gateway horror thing. It gets kids into like horror stuff. As
Yeah,
did Tom Baker's run. Um, a lot of
right.
people from my generation considered Doctor Who from that run as their gateway horror.
Yeah, well, my
Um,
dad's scared of the Cybermen, and I never really got that, right? Because in the 2005 series, the Cybermen aren't really that scary.
yeah,
But Dad from the old series said, like, as a kid, the Cybermen scared him,
yeah. For me,
which
it was
is
the
interesting.
Autons. The Autons really bothered me. They come out of shop windows as dummies with guns in their hands falling off and a gun and just shooting people. It's
Oh
like,
yeah,
and you
they
go
do that
down the high
in
street as a kid, you're like,
they do that in that's Eccleston's episode 1, right? They bring those back.
Yes, yes, but they were also really significant in Pertwee's era. Really
Yeah.
significant, and
It's like
that's
Rose is
kind of the earliest ones I remember. And I
they're in
must have been
Primark or
quite
something.
young. So
Can't
what?
remember. They're in like Primark or something, aren't they? Like
Yeah,
Rose works in
yeah, that
Primark, I think.
kind of thing. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, in this in the early ones, Primark didn't exist, but yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah. Oh, and they've also picked up a new companion in this episode. Adam, who joins them for a few episodes.
Yeah, he talks about him. Yeah, he kind of comes and goes.
Yeah. Um, yeah, I'm glad they got the rights for Dalek, and they managed to produce this one. Apparently, Van Straten was kind of based on Bill Gates. Apparently, I
That's
don't see it
crazy.
myself. I see other
No.
millionaires of that type, but
I,
not particularly Bill Gates. I guess Bill Gates was the only really famous one around at that time, right? Um,
yeah, I
so
guess
yeah.
like some sort of person who owns loads of tech and has done inventions that people seek, right? Like that's his whole arc was I steal alien junk and make it technology. Like what does he say? He's like broadband was Roswell. Uh like come on. Like it's
Yeah,
cheesy
there's
sci-fi. It's
there's
great.
some fun stuff there.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah. One of the things about Doctor Who I want to mention is it's got a lot in common with both Star Trek and the X Files, which we've covered. Um, in that it's got this elastic form. So when you used to sit down to a Doctor Who episode, if no one spoiled it, you don't know if you're going to get horror, you don't know if you're going to get comedy, you're going to get drama, you're going to get a
Yeah.
caper. You just don't know what you're going to get. So it's got that wonderful elasticity built in that the X Files and Star Trek also have, right? I
Yeah.
think the secret to a long show is A, it's got to be really good, but B, it's got to have this ability to do one episode of this type, then do it without it feeling jarring. And they all succeed in that respect, don't they?
Yeah, and honestly, I think the best examples, like we talked about X-Files, we talked about literally in this episode, I think one of my favorite things is the tonal shifts that you can pull off with that stuff. You can go from a goofy episode, or in the X-Files case, right? We talked about Squeeze.
Yeah,
You go from a bunch of alien stuff to that, where you're like, oh, this is very different. This is
yeah,
like home invasion horror. Like, okay,
yeah,
I wasn't
yeah,
expecting that, right? Like the diversity sort of you can really use it to improve the series, which they a lot do. Doctor Who, in my opinion, kind of does this thing where it starts off with a bang, does some warbly bits in the middle, and then ends with a bang usually.
yeah. A lot of running about in the middle, right?
Yeah, and they
The
have
fast
fun with their
discussions.
episodes.
Yeah,
Yeah, they have fun with their episodes in the middle. They might sort of do a serious one in the middle, like we did with Dalek, and then they usually finish it strong because he's regenerating or whatever.
yeah. And it's often a Christmas episode, isn't it?
Yeah,
Often,
and the way
not
they ran
always.
the show was they would do a special on Christmas Day, which most of the British public watched. I don't know anyone who
Watched,
didn't.
yeah, yeah. Everyone watched it. Everyone watched it.
Everyone watched it, so it was like an event. So they always put all the stops for that. But yeah, um,
Yeah.
yeah,
It was good. I really like the Dalek design. I know there was a bit of CG or something like that, but I
yeah.
like the Dalek design, and I like the fact you saw, for example, the casing reforming itself as it got stronger. Because part of the secret of Daleks is the casing in it, right? That those balls on the side sucking energy and all sorts, right? So
Oh yeah, 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 yeah.
yeah. Um, it's made me want to go and see a Doctor Who, go see to a Doctor Who exhibition somewhere and look at Daleks and things. That's what this watching this made me do. Um,
Nice.
yeah. Okay. I think we've probably chewed the gum on this, chewed the sugar out of the gum
Yeah,
on this
think so.
now. So that was fun. I really enjoyed going back to Doctor Who. Don't know what we're going to do next time. It's your choice, but we'll decide. And
I will see. I
yeah,
will
we'll see.
think.
So that about winds up this episode. So for now, hold on. I'm about to reverse the polarity of the neutron flow.
I don't want to go.